What's good, Bears fans? Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be looking at the offensive line. Obviously, we've heard a lot about the offensive line from the national media, certainly before we've ever played a snap in the regular season game, telling us how bad it's going to be, how Ryan Poles hasn't surrounded Justin Fields with enough talent on the offensive line, how we have rejects and offshoots and all the rest of it on the offensive line, that undrafted free agents, fifth-round rookie tackles can't play. Larry Borum's a bust. Tevin Jenkins is a bust, and he's going to be traded elsewhere. We've heard all of that, but the truth is that it looks very different on tape. Certainly did on Sunday against the 49ers, who are a very talented defensive lineman. Nick Bosa, you've got Javon Kinlaw, you've got Eric Armstead, a host of absolute freaks up front for the 49ers and a really good front seven. And we're going to face another good front seven coming up Sunday against the Packers. So what we're going to do is get into tape, and we won't sugarcoat things. We're going to call it as it is, but we're also going to make allowance for context of what's actually going on, who they're going up against, and what the conditions are like. So we get a balanced view, I hope, and you're able to walk away a little bit more informed as to what's going on. So you can see here, we're going to start off in the I formation. Obviously, Bosa is over to this side. You've got Javon Kinlaw to his side as well. There's Javon Kinlaw, Eric Armstead. That's the other defensive end, and they look like they're in a sort of a 4-3. So that would be the Mike. This would be the strong side linebacker. This would be the Will, and obviously we've got a defensive back. So numbers wise, doesn't look very good for us in terms of running at the front at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the box. And we've only got sort of 5 offensive line, 1 tight end and 1 fullback. So we're at 5, 6, 7 versus 8. Obviously, the 8th man would be David Montgomery. So we'll let it play. Let you take a look at it first of all, and then you're going to make your mind up as to what you're seeing. And then we're going to go back. Obviously, there goes Pringle. I think we know what that play is, don't we? This is obviously later on in the game. So what we got first up, this wasn't the play that I actually wanted to show you first of all, but never mind. We'll get into it anyway. So this is later in the game. Obviously, things have gone a little bit differently. So what I like, first of all, is it's supposedly a free release. Obviously, Bosa's trying to get on the tight end there. And it's an outside set because of that by Braxton Jones. You see he's got a hand on to help Whitehair with Kinlaw should he come this way. Mustafa one-on-one with defensive tackle. Obviously, Peters, what you've got really nice mesh there. See how all 3 offensive linemen are in contact. Off the line of scrimmage, obviously, Pringle motions in, gets a chip here. There's the chip. We get what looks like a crack here on Warner from Equinemius St. Brown. He misses. Oh, damn, I've missed. Well, how terrible. You've got 2 people chasing the tight end over here. This guy probably should be coming over to Pringle, but he doesn't even see him. Off goes Pringle. Pringle wide open. Equinemius St. Brown wide open. Decisions made. That's where it's going. And it's a touchdown. So very, very nice for the Bears. So we're going to go back to I don't know why it's put this one up first, but we're going to go back to the first play. So first quarter, here we go. First quarter, first play of the game. Here it is. So Demo lined up as a slot wide receiver, tight end there. So 11 personnel, it looks like up front. The alignment's quite interesting because they're quite wide, and in terms of numbers, at the moment we've only got sort of 7 up front against 5 potentially. So we'll let it run through, and then we'll go back and see what happens on the actual pass protection. We know that this was one of the 3 pressures, one of the 3 pressures. That's the first pressure. So what happens here in terms of sets? We'll go left to right. So get a chip from David Montgomery here. Obviously, Warner's going to be on David Montgomery in the pass, unless he goes over the middle, in which case it'll be this guy. So nice pass set there so far with Jones. Problem is, you can see Cody Whitehair. Kinlaw's got into his pads, head down into his pads, and he's got half the man. And because you see that inside step there just to regain his power, problem is now he's created a void and separation. Braxton kind of either needs to keep that proximity there, but he's got a linebacker coming. That's where it all breaks down really up front. In terms of protection on the other side, again, we've got a chip. We've got 3 on 2 to this side. So whether Sam can go looking to the left or not, I don't know. But Jenkins does a great job here. Armstead's going nowhere. Larry Borum with his guy again, got him all set. Bosa going nowhere. But the problem is Javon Kinlaw gets through pretty clean and easy there. And that's part of the problem, is that's what happens. And we're there with them struggling. So it's good to see we've got some people here. So thank you for joining me live. Appreciate all of you. So yeah, so pressure straight away. I mean, obviously Fields, ideally, you've got Cole Kmet running free over the middle, but man right in his face, he just basically lobs it to the check release, which was David Montgomery. He lobs it up a little bit high. It's got to be said. Demo should be catching that ball anyway, but again, a little bit high. Two defenders sort of very close proximity to the ball. Not a great start to the game. Obviously, it's very wet and we are inside our own 20-yard line, as you can quite clearly see there. So second play from scrimmage, we're going to have a motion here, you're going to see. So let it run through once. You can have a look at, see what you're looking at. Back Chicago, nice to see you. Straight pitch, so not too bad in terms of effort up front there. So motion comes across. What does that tell you? Well, you've obviously got, there's Talanoa Hufanga, guy that I was an absolute stand for in the draft. Did Kmet stay on that block too long? It's a check release and it's Nick Bosa. So, I mean, you can debate the value of it, but the whole point is if you don't stay on it sort of at least a second, then you're not going to have the linebackers dropping to depth. The whole point of Kmet is that he's under linebackers when they're dropping to depth on the pass. So now I think it's probably about the right sort of amount of time. Kmet comes cross motion on here. So in terms of numbers, we get a nice, and this was a point that I made in the preseason when I was talking about sort of the strictly zone blocking. Strictly zone blocking, obviously we're all going this way. So strictly zone blocking, you split the man down the half and you say, right, anything head up to this side is, if we're going this way, is covered and this is uncovered. Okay, but it's covered for you, but it's on, and that's the way you go across. So technically this is uncovered for Cody Whitehair, but what I like is he attacks off the line of scrimmage, then goes, Mustafa has a much easier job to get on to that second level. And you see Mustafa's ability to turn, and that shoulder comes up because nice contact by Whitehair makes it much easier for Mustafa to get play side. He hasn't quite got his head play side there. Larry on the backside is zone stepping across as the defensive tackle it is actually onto this side. Goes across. Larry's got that sealed off backside. Okay, Kmet is part of the offensive line in this. He's going to seal Warner. Here we go with that. Braxton Jones and Pringle. So Pringle now is looking for work. Obviously, Whitehair's trying to get to that. We're trying to get Kmet to that. Equanimity is sent down here, but we have a free defender up here. That's really the responsibility of Pringle. And I think, if I'm being honest, he doesn't get to it until too late. He should be turning back here. That's the only guy you've got to block, or alternatively, it's up here. But we aren't at that point yet. This is the nearest threat. That's where you need to go. So it's difficult because obviously it's in the rain. He's turning, he sees him at the last second. And the defender does a good job, really. So knifing in between the block. Submarines, Montgomery, who manages to get an extra couple of yards. And it's nice to see the offensive linemen. So we've got three guys still working downfield. So it's nice to see them with a bit of a drive on. We're sort of 4 or 5 yards downfield, still engaged with our players. And, even Kinlaw giving a shot there to Sam Mustafa in the face, that clearly means that Sam's doing something right on that play. I know he gets a lot of... Hi, it's great to see you. That's Joelle Hirschman, guys. So follow her on Twitter. That's Larry Barham's mum. Larry does a good job there. You've got every reason to be proud. Nice to see Tevin Jenkins getting out as well to the second level. Talanoa Hufanga, only one hand on him, gets on him and engages and drives. In terms of Arik Armstead, very long defender on the backside. Again, Larry's sort of zone stepping across. He's just got to seal that back edge. Does a nice job of that. So on to the next one. This is obviously that's the second play. We're going to go on to the third. So quarter one, it's series one, and it's play number 3. Let's get into it. We'll roll it again for you guys. There's obviously Ryan Griffin here, tight end, and pass setting, and then chip releasing. So clearly, this is what, like I said earlier, they had 3 pressures in total, which is pretty fantastic given the amount of times that we got to Trey Lance in the backfield. So that's as a comparison. I mean, obviously our defensive line is much maligned. Theirs is apparently a stellar defense, and they were 6th rated in the NFL last year, and they've got 3 first-round picks. So Braxton Jones here with a wide set, really, a wide 9. There, he's doing a nice job, 45-degree set. Good position there with his sort of his hips, his ass back, rocks them back, just gets his little bit upright there, if I'm being honest, but he's got control of the shoulder pads. He just needs to work his feet at this point. It's just a little bit high and a little bit catchy there. And the problem is once he gets to this step here, he's leaning. You see, he's leaning forward with his head because he's late with his hands. He's late into the engage. If he punches with his hands, he's got a chance earlier. If he punches with his hands, and this is speed to power, this is something that he's said that he struggles with, and clearly he does. And the reason why he's struggling with it is because the separation and gap there, he's got really long arms, so he can afford to flash a hand and wait for it. But he didn't. And at the end of the day, he gets into his pads, resets his feet now. Now he needs to actually drive with his feet and start pushing. Again, you can see the water splashing up off the floor, so I can understand why. But that's the reason why. And going across now, double team here, we're going to get no play at all. They've got that locked up. Tevin Jenkins is going with Larry. Larry's obviously going to get help from Ryan Griffin here. Bosu is his man. Javon Kinlaw left one-on-one with Tevin Jenkins by design. And Tevin's doing well up to that point, but you see his feet stop. You see these feet have stopped. And it's because he's trying to stop it from conceding ground. If he just keeps sort of crow hopping back a little bit, resetting his feet, he doesn't get that rip and swim. And Javon Kinlaw, his body control and his centre. It's good to see you, Bradley. Thank you for joining me in the chat. I appreciate you coming here. The centre of gravity, if you stop your feet, it's much easier for someone who's got really good torque and really good strength to do that rip. And this is the reason why Justin can't sort of step up. I mean, maybe he can get to this side of him. But as you can see, when you combine one error with two errors, it really does cause an issue. And because we're at this depth, obviously we're going to get around the outside. Elbow fork lever there. What Larry needs to do to avoid that is where he does his hands there, he gets his hands on, it's just reset. As soon as you feel that elbow, that hand on your elbow, got to reset your hand. So either you break down on the way to clear your hands and then re-punch the chest, or you give yourself a bit of room. But anyway, elbow lever up. He's actually anchoring quite well there, all things considered. But because Kinlaw's through and because Ibukam's through, that's the reason why it becomes a sack. Luckily, we don't get any alignment down with sort of high ankle type issues where they're all falling on the back of people's legs. So we got away with it really there. It's the first sack, first series, not a great start to the game for the offense, but in tough conditions and tough field position. Series number 2 now, again, you can see we've got a 3 tight end set with Jake Tongs, Griffin and Cole Kmet. Obviously, in terms of numbers, what you want to look at is really you're looking at a box here, and we can count them up together. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the box this time. So running against 9 in the box is going to be difficult, particularly when you're going out of shotgun. This is one of the things that Getsy did in the first couple of series. And it was an adjustment that we sort of moved and went away from. But going out of gun, I mean, a lot of people were complaining, certainly. Yeah, she was great on it. She was on Saturday, and we raised a lot of money. And if people want to donate still, they still can. I'll be putting a pinned comment in the chat, and people can still make a donation if they want to. Hi, Edward. Hope you're going to enjoy it today. Yeah, going what looks like a really obvious run formation, but going out of gun in bad weather isn't necessarily, the greatest recipe for success. The motion really tells us that we've got a zone up front. That's all it does. It's basically like an RPO type read, but Bosa, you see him sort of sit and wait. He's got the athleticism to go inside and outside. That's the reason why it's a give. If he sort of comes all the way up here, it's a straight give straight away. If he crashes down on Montgomery, you pull and you go behind Ryan Griffin here. That's the whole point of the RPO. At the end of the day, what do we get up front? Okay, Jake Tongs is going to get a double here and then go to Hufanga. Braxton Jones in pretty good position. Again, Braxton, just keep your ass down, man. Keep your ass down, your shoulders down, and then you're able to drive a little bit easier. Again, Ibukum gets to his pads. Whitehair and Mustafa on the, obviously, One Tech, Kinlaw. Pretty good, decent job. I mean, Sam's kind of leaning across there. We need to get more of a punch. If you have to reset to get around it, that's fine. But you want to get him off the line of scrimmage. What is really good up front now is we get a double. It's almost a double. Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borum here working really well on Warner, who actually crashes the gap. So in terms of the run, and Larry's sort of sealing off. You actually get a pretty good seal there. If Tevin can just stay on Fred Warner, and again, this is sort of ifs and ands, it's really difficult to do because he's late into the gap and then he sort of disengages and you've got the weight of 2 bodies going against you. It is difficult to stay there, but you'd fancy David Montgomery to at least get something. And something is what we get at the end of the day. It's not a lot, but it's sort of 2.5, 3 yards. But again, I think if Fields pulls that, he's not really going to get much play with Bosa there. Whether you do back it at some point and you lose a bit of ground to gain a bit of ground, I don't know. But at the end of the day, the RPO, what you want them to do when you're early on is you want them to get them to crash down on that. How do I think Griffin blocked? It seemed he was out there a lot. He was. Him and Cole Kmet, generally speaking, very good. We're going to have a look at it anyway. That's the whole point of doing this. So, Alex, we will have a look. Yeah, they were blocking a lot. So were the wide receivers, to be honest, in sort of in check releases. But we're going to get onto that. Don't you worry. We've got plenty of time. We've got plenty of tape to go through. So I'm going to go through it as quick as I can. So we're on to sort of third down now, much more obvious sort of passing situation. Again, in terms of numbers in the box, count them yourself. This is what you're looking at. Obviously, 4 up front. It's nickel now, so we've only got 6 in the box. Obviously, we've got Montgomery in the backfield. We'll let it go. You can have a look at what you see on the offensive line. Obviously, we've got an unbalanced line here. So in terms of counting numbers going down from centre, in terms of sliding protection, so just a bit of a hint. Obviously, 4 to this side, 2 to this side. So you would naturally think you've got to cut slide protection to this side. What you tend to get out of here is you'll get something like this and you'll get some sort of stunt from that. They don't tend to go, and there you go. That's exactly what happens. And it's actually a twist around the edge. This is the Aaron Donald stunt that they've obviously picked up from the Rams. So they line up Aaron Donald here, so you're going to funnel protection towards Aaron Donald. What they're actually going to do is loop around the edge by coming across here. So this guy is going to fire in between tackle and guard, and then this chap here is just basically going to loop off the edge of that. That's the whole point. We're going to loop off the edge. You want people to be chasing, then you're leaving 2 on 2 here. That's the premise of the stunt. We do leave 2 on 2, and it's fine because we're actually running a shovel pass. So it's actually a screen, but it means to the play side where the screen is, really, I mean, if anything, what we want to do is we actually want sort of demo. We want some sort of check here to call this to the left because obviously the numbers work much better here than they do over this side. This side is the screen. If you had the option to basically say, okay, just count the numbers this side. Okay, we've got 4 here, we've got 2 here. Well, okay, it's designed to go screen here, and we do have an overload. But ultimately, if we want to let these guys through, it's fine this side if they're chasing. If Demo just escapes here and we've got, 3 on 2, ultimately with Komet as well. So, again, just something for Getsy to look at on the tape. It's an opportunity for him to adjust the play, maybe, and have a call. So if we do see 3, then, you've at least got an option there. But there you go, 3 on 2, and we've got 2 on 2, the play side, which is, and at the end of the day, what's happening here? So Braxton Jones here again, just letting people get into his pads a little bit, and Whitehair takes over. That's fine, but if you don't get extension, if you don't get punch, if you're not working your feet back, this is the problem. He had a shaky start to the game, and this is the reason why, because he's not working his feet back. His ass isn't low enough a little bit. And on the stunt, basically, comes free because, head's down and hands are into the pads there. But Fields does a great job here, just literally flipping it out in front. So now we're in a position where, this has kind of worked in a dysfunctional manner, but it has worked. Fields has got the ball out to David Montgomery. Okay, so we need some blocks up front. What do we get? Okay, well, Sam it's quite poor. You're running to where you think the player is. So you're running to where you think he is, and he's just basically going to dip outside the outside. You need to be breaking down, even if you just stop completely there, and then you engage him once he's that. But the problem is, obviously, David Montgomery is David Montgomery. Whitehair, again, hasn't seen his target till it's too late. But David Montgomery is David Montgomery, and David Montgomery does things like this. Great to see Darnell Mooney coming in from the opposite side. So, again, part of the run game, part of run blocking, is people like Darnell Mooney washing his defensive back across. Kinlaw can't get there. You see Cole Kmet now trying to get onto Sean Gibson. Not quite able to get there. Gibson sort of dips down, gets a piece of him, and it's cleaned up. But it's a nice result from what looked like a fairly straightforward, well, I say straightforward, a screen that kind of went dysfunctional because of what happened on the actual the blocking where we had the stunt. So again, in terms of numbers, we're looking at numbers, and you're looking at where people are. We've got this is a cornerback here. So if a cornerback's in this tight, we've got no one over to this side, tight ends this side. You're kind of expecting, 3-man blitz kind of thing. Let it go, and you can again, you can make your one. There goes the motion. So what happens on the motion? Nothing. We just widen, and now you see he's coming even further. So clearly he's coming. So it's a trap up front. That's what the look of the block is, and it turns into a pass. So again, what you're trying to do is put on tape plays that you might be seeing later. So the fullback comes out, okay, fine. What we're looking at is like a power. So you're gonna block there, squeeze, block there, pull here for the trap on the end who's left unblocked, and you're kind of looking, zone down this way, which is what happens. Again, nice job by Larry and Tevin coming over there. There goes the tight end releasing straight off the line of scrimmage free. That would be that sort of handoff for the wham kind of look. And you see it does actually pull the linebackers in. Cornerback's going with him, but it does pull the linebackers in. And at this point, if Fields can throw it now, but the problem is Griffin's looking at a landmark, not understanding that he can actually get a bit more depth here on this and make things easy for himself. But he carries on running straight into trouble, really, in terms of the coverage. Fields has got to press to make this linebacker come up now. So he does. He presses the line of scrimmage, which is what you want him to do. Make the linebacker take a decision. He does. He has to flip it up and over, which he does. Griffin does catch it, but he comes down with the feet inbounds, but then just loses the ball in contact with the ground. So he's ruled not a complete catch. So, but decent design up front. Obviously, the play off that would be the straight give to David Montgomery, and that's what you'd be looking at. Again, we've got a motion that looks like Equanimous St. Brown, Darnell Mooney, Pringle here, very tight. So again, in this first half, we got sort of very tight formations. We've seen 2 and 3 tight ends. We've seen wide receivers very close in. Everything's been sort of fairly tight in to the edge of the line of scrimmage here so far in the first half. Well, at least we're sort of approaching the middle of the field now. You can see we're at sort of the 25, 30 yard, 35 yard line roughly there. Motion comes across. So again, count the numbers yourself at home. I'm not going to do it for you, but you can count it there quite clearly, 8. He says, saying he's not going to count it. There goes that speed motion. Let it go. And so why doesn't this work for David Montgomery and it does work for Khalil Herbert? Well, again, it's about numbers in the box, and you're going to see this. So it's a zone step. So here, Pringle's going, you see zone, it got like a backside wham kind of look. And again, you're looking at what this is going to be in the design later, because at the moment it's not really engaging. What he needs to do is get to that cornerback, which is what you can see he's trying to do. The only thing is really Montgomery here, because we're washing these two guys down, you kind of sort of want to be in a little bit tighter there rather than come across. But he goes wide, Warner goes down, Hufanga goes down, gets a good piece of him, and then Warner cleans up. So what could we have done differently? Well, Braxton Jones is doing a decent job there, just fitting up against Bosa. Whitehair and Mustafa, that's actually good movement now. That's pretty good, actually driving him out of the hole. So really, Demo could actually sort of press in a little bit further into here before we cut back. So a little bit more patience of pressing in towards that hole. And Tevin gets a great block there on the linebacker who's come in to fill. Larry's got a great block there on the defensive end, just washing him across the line of scrimmage. Quite clearly you can see there. But the problem is, because we got 8 in the box, we're left with short numbers, and that's what happens. When you've got more defenders than you've got blockers, that's what tends to happen on the runs. So bear that in mind when you're looking at the inside zone that we saw didn't work there with David Montgomery, but we are going to see it work a little bit later on with Khalil Herbert. So what's the difference? I think this is the play we just had. So interception now. Never nice to look at interceptions. He did. We're actually gonna have that. We do see a bit like that. We do see a bit of pancaking. Problem child saying that Griffin pancaking dudes like he's working at Denny's. I'm a bot saying Larry had a nice pancake and he's going to. He did. There's a few players we've got them coming up actually. So again, what we got? Okay, in terms of what have you got up front? You got a defensive lineman sort of bluffing. You got 2 A-gap bluffs, a defensive tackle sort of a 4-eye and a wide 9 and a wide 9 with uncounted man in the box of safety here. So we're going to get something in terms of, and there goes the uncounted safety. Justin should be seeing this now. That's probably why we didn't realise when we get this drop back, we didn't realise that he's there, because he sort of bails back late and Justin's looking at the snap. Obviously wet conditions, it's a little bit high and wide. So it looks like we are getting 2 bail, we are getting 4 come. So let's see how we handle them up front. Demo checking into out, that's fine. We got a twist off the edge. So how do Tevin, Eric Armstead's on the inside, how do Tevin and Larry work that double? Well, Larry's got to keep his eyes on this. He does, but when he comes across, you see him turn his body in there. That's good. Tevin's obviously got good position. We work that. Tevin's able to come off because Larry fits up, and that works well for Sam. So now we get a double here, and that's sort of where the pressure comes. Problem being, Mooney sort of is open there where it clears. So if he throws it now, right now, here, he's on. And again, just a half second, just that extra half. See the bounce there, step up, throw a little bit late, and then obviously there goes Hufanga. And we've got what looks like one high safety, but it's not, it's actually two. And he just comes across and picks it. And a good tackle there, a good attempt by Economy St. Brown. And great effort by Dante Pettis to come in, get hands on the ball, and go up. So look at Justin Fields as well on this, by the way. Justin knows it's a pick now. Watch Justin Fields at this point. Okay, I'm just gonna let you watch. Sees it going that way, reverses the field, sprinting upfield. Look how quick he actually closes that gap. And at the end of the day, Dante Pettis did a great job in bringing him down. I will get to chat in a minute. I'm doing all of this on my own, so please bear with me if I'm not getting to chat straight away. Let's see what we got. So I'm a bot saying, Commit held his own blocking. Wide receivers were blocking linebackers and defensive line a lot. There's lots of whams and stuff that you're going to see in this tape. Obviously, two tight ends here. We've got motion equanimity St. Brown here. In terms of numbers, it's just 7. But it looks like Hufanga again coming down, seeing this motion, coming down into the box. You can quite clearly see from the proximity here, they're trying to sell run from that point. Let's see what we get. Obviously, Khalil Herbert in the backfield this time. And it is a run. It's a good yardage off the back of that. So what's the difference? Why did Khalil Herbert have success? Why did David Montgomery fail? Well, first of all, we are still 8 in the box when the safety walks up. But we are, this time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 8. Again, what you want to do is split the numbers there. So what do you get on the defensive line? Everyone comes into pinch. Cole Kmet, again, getting pressed on the outside, but keeping good body position and engagement. Equanimity St. Brown really is the reason why this play works. This block right here on Talanoa Hufanga. At the moment, we've got Griffin up here, that's fine. We've got a double here, that's fine, no problems there. Sam Mustafa one-on-one with the linebacker doing a decent job. A little bit hold by Lucas Patrick now. You can tell it's Lucas Patrick because of the club on his hand. Good position here. Again, he's just got to his chest plate a little bit, but Larry's got him in his pocket there. He presses up to the line of scrimmage really well because this linebacker then can't see him. He's got to hold this gap. Bounce it outside. One-on-one with the DB. DB's thinking he's going to run me over here, so he sets his feet, tries to go after it, and then good leg strength there by Khalil Herbert. That's the reason why Herbert's able to get that. But ultimately, the reason why he gets that yard, because that's an absolutely fantastic block by Equanimity St. Brown on the edge. That's the reason why that run works. There you go. That's the recent one. So we had Series 3 play 1. So we're at Series 3 play 2 now. So second quarter, you can quite clearly see it's second quarter. Again, we've got this double A gap look. But again, now we've got safety. You can see him up here. We've got safety up on the line of scrimmage. Double A gap look with sort of almost like a 5-eye for the defensive tackles. Javon Kidnall is on the field. I saw some people saying he was out of the game. He didn't. He went out for one series. Everyone's back on, and it's a wide set. This time we're obviously emptying the backfield. Let's see how they handle it because it looks like 6 against 5. You get a motion in of Komet, motion in of Herbert. You see no movement up front at all, so you know it's some sort of zone. And that's really, really nice. It's a really good play, this, and it's really well blocked. So the A-gap, you know more often than not, the A-gaps are going to bluff. They, especially when they're sort of here. You can see the weights back. You can see the weights back. They're not really sort of heavy on their feet. They're not front-loaded. So you know they're kind of going to bluff. So Larry's just basically got to get position on Bosa. Tevin's got to get position on Armstead. Sam's got to get onto the backside of Warner. Whitehair's got to get in here, play side of the middle linebacker, and then Braxton's got to hold his own against Javon Kinlaw. We're not worried about this because obviously he's got to worry about Justin Fields, and then you got Cole Kmet coming across there as well, and he's going to try and cut block. I hate this. Do not ever try and cut block with your head down like this. You are going to break your neck. Don't ever do that again, Cole. That's awful technique. All you need is a knee go across the top of your head there, and that's a broken neck, and you're on a spine board. So there's that sort of, again, the RPO kind of look. But look at this here. You want to talk about a lane? That's a lane. And he goes through. And again, because he's just settling his feet, the nearest defender, settling his feet. What he wants to do is sort of bounce one leg inside and then go back outside, really. But it's a good tackle by Hufanga there. And again, Darnell Mooney blocking two dudes downfield. So that's 7's the first guy who's blocking, 25's the second guy who's blocking. Really good effort by everyone up front. And we've even got, Dante Pettis here, sealing the backside of that. Still giving effort on the block, even now still giving effort. You want to know what a team that believes in what its coaching is. When you get effort like this from wide receivers this far away from the play, and again, Equanimous Seth Brown going looking for work. It's just really encouraging to see because it really helps the. Yeah, well, thanks for telling me I got it wrong. I wasn't actually sort of talking about that. I was just making it applicable to the video itself. But I appreciate that, Sam. I'll try and make sure I get the acronyms right going from here forward. But thanks for the feedback. It's particularly helpful on this video. Let's go and carry on. So recent videos, that's Series 3, Play 2. So we need to go into this one. So I formation. We know Nagy didn't come to run the I formation. Obviously 7 in the box this time. Fullback separates. That's pretty good, and that's pretty awful, to be fair. So the blocking up front was good. The blocking on the backside wasn't. That was unfortunately. Yeah, Sam, all I was trying to do was make it applicable to what was on that actual video. The video earlier was with regards to, I take it you mean Dominique Robinson. That's all I was trying to do was make it applicable to what he was actually doing at that particular point in the play, but rather than just repeat what the actual thing is. So motion goes, you see linebackers just shift, and the D-line shifts as well. Fullback goes out. At the end of the day, I think Hufanga is your guy. Pass blocking up front, actually really good this time. It is a speed to power attempt, but you see how he's reset. You see how his body is in a much better position now. You see how his head isn't across in front of his feet. So that's the adjustment, and that's much better body position right there. Whitehair at the end of the day, Kinlaw thinks he's got a rip and a win, but he hasn't because, and again, Justin Fields getting the ball behind him there. Not quite sure how. Larry on the backside. So you got Mustafa again. People talk about Mustafa. That's nice. He gives him a good shot there, Arik Armstead. And you got Lucas Patrick as well, just getting involved. At the end of the day, that's the backside of the play for Larry. It's just a screen. Let's see some hustle of getting people downfield. Sam's needs to take a better angle there. Just get out in front, just literally, because he's faster. Just try and get to the sideline, get out in front of him that way. But Cody Whitehair, ultimately, this is your only responsibility, is that guy. At literally this point here, where you go. And the problem is you can see him, his head quite clearly is looking over this way. Nearest threat is right here. So just know where your nearest threat is, go to it. And that becomes Blazing Game. But you see Blazing Game's overrun because Hufanga's come up so quick. So what you want to do is almost create like a punt return kind of wall here. That's what you want to do, and then give him a chance to sort of sprint around the outside. But he doesn't, tries to sort of split because, again, he is trying to get to the outside, but Blazing Game is trying to run towards a man rather than run towards a space. We're just out of position now on the sort of the downfield element of it. It's a good hit again by Talanoa Hufanga. So the guy was a problem most of the day for the defense. It's quite evident to see as to why. It's so athletic up front. Again, we look like we've got serious numbers of people in the box again. Herbert in the backfield. Is this the play I've just done? I wonder. Again, it's hard to keep track when you're doing so many of them. So that's Series 3, Play 4. Okay. Series 3, Play 4. Yeah, Series 3, Play 5. There we go. Next play, let it run. Let you guys count. Obviously 6 in the box against 6. And that's the sack. That's the second sack. So up front, okay, it's Bosa. And again, the problem is because it's speed to power, and all that happens is on speed to power upfield, get a 45-degree set. So you're actually closing the gap. If you come back vertical, it makes it a bit easier for you. Larry's coming back. You can see Larry's coming back much more vertical than Braxton is doing a wide set, which is fine because it's a wide player. But again, see, he's just head leaning forward. He's crossed his feet up. That's the reason why. He's speed to power. So if you're not kick sliding, which we're not, we're wide setting, you're going to get yourself into that position. At the end of the day, it's not particularly deep. Larry's at a good position. Braxton just literally getting bullied back a little bit there. And that's the reason why, it all turns pretty bad. Whitehair's too late coming back to try and help. But the other two up front, the other three up front, here and here, we do okay. But ultimately, the backside just gets pushed in. And he's going to have losses like that every now and again. But, yeah, he did. So you're going to have losses every now and again. At the end of the day, he's a 5th-round rookie from Southern Utah. He's going against a number 1 overall pick, or top 3 pick. I think he was, wasn't he, Bosa? Nick Bosa. I think he was top 3 pick. So that was the end of that series. So quarter 2 now, going into the second quarter. Again, in terms of numbers, you kind of want to be splitting the field like this and counting the numbers as to where your advantage is. I mean, clearly you see 3 here, and you see kind of 4 if we're talking about Hufanga being up here as well. Well, you've got 4 already. That's a 5th. So in terms of protection, we've got obviously 2 tight ends over this side. Just be aware of your numbers. Under center this time, what looks like 1 high safety, but you see as the motion comes, we're already getting people out of the box and then coming over to replace. This motion's coming, he's already going. So again, what is it? And then there's wide zone. This is really good movement up front by the offensive line. And look how hard everyone bites on this boot action. And this is something as well, when we start looking at these, so obviously Justin just takes off and goes for it himself, gets his first down. When we start looking at these, once we start doing this as an offense, I want you to just pay attention to the numbers that are left over here. Okay, because we've got Equinemi and St. Brown, we've got Khalil Herbert over this side of the field. Watch what happens when they all see Justin boot. Okay, we've got 2 defenders left. Watch the rest of everybody else on the 49ers. Okay, he's going. You see it all. So in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 defenders that side, which means 3 defenders that you can't see over this side. So we've got Equinemi, St. Brown, and Khalil Herbert over there, plus 5 offensive linemen. So if Justin wants to reset his feet here, or get to there and reset his feet, and then throw it back over here, we've got a throwback with 7 or 8 against 3. This is something we are going to see at some point in the season, because every team we've seen, the Browns and the 49ers, look at the panic when Justin runs. And this is what he causes. This is what he creates. And again, Darnell Mooney just trying to get in the way of everybody. I love it. I love the effort by Darnell. He's just such a dude, such a dog. So that's his series. This is quarter 2, isn't it? So quarter 2, play 2. Let's have a look. We're a bit tighter in. Hufanga in the box again. Obviously, we've got Warner out wide this time, which makes me think that we've maybe got a halfback out there, possibly, or a tight end. So you see Komet depart, okay. It looks like a run block to me up front. And again, that's really good work initially, but just falling off at the end. So this is where Justin has kept the ball. So let's go back and have a look, see what we see. So Larry's got a really wide Nick Bosa. Let's see what Larry does. gets that. And again, you talk about position. That's exactly where you want to have it. Shoulders down, lowest man. Look at that extension there. That's exactly what you want in the punch. So Tevin and Sam Mustafa get into the body really, really well here at this point. Cody just comes off Javon Kinlaw a little bit early for Braxton there. Braxton again dropping his head. Dude, you just got to get your ass down, keep your shoulders up. Ass down, shoulders up, Braxton. You're a tall guy. Keep your ass down, shoulders up. Get your hands in the chest and press him from there. And again, that's the reason why, because Javon Kinlaw's got such just freakish. He doesn't even have a wide base there. That's all upper body strength and core. He's just able to throw him off. Now, Cody's got good position here. We've got good blocking up front apart from that, good blocking over here. Kinlaw just able to throw him free. The whole point is we're leaving this guy on his own. Justin does pull it. Defensive end on Justin Fields. No, not going to get it, dude. And he just runs straight past him. And we get the first down. And you see him go down because at the end of the day, he's already got the first down. But again, blocking up front. Good effort, good blocking up front by the big boys. And again, against numbers that were sort of working against them in terms of blocking. So good stuff. And this is obviously second quarter. So we are already making adjustments. You're seeing adjustments in action. So quarter 2, series 3. Yep, this is where we are. So although we're under center, looking at the numbers again, looks like we're in nickel. One high. There's Hufanga coming in with Komet. We don't know whether this is full field man because we haven't crossed center. If he crosses center and Hufanga goes and returns, we know it's full field man because he's actually transitioning across. But because we settle here and it's outside leverage, we could still be in a match zone. So let's just think that. Okay, looks like we're sort of wide zone. And again, we are. And you see Komet leave the backside end. That's deliberate. So let's go on to the play again. We've got Larry coming here to Bosa. It's quite a wide set again. Bosa's very quick off the mark to get upfield. Again, good position. See Tevin come across. So one hand on Armstead. Let Sam get his head play side, which he has. That's great work by Tevin and Sam Mustafa. That's really good work. And now you've got Whitehair coming over to give him a bit of extra, which he does, gets into his sides. That play action has worked. How's the play action work so far? Fields has got the ball out there, pulls it the last second. This is really good. You're going to the ground, son. So there you go. Throws him to the ground. So Braxton Jones, if you want to see a good rep from Braxton Jones, see him get this time. He's got his pads lower, got his hands under and into the chest. And on his own, just literally just throws him into the ground. That's great stuff. And again, from the backside, you got this is like a levels concept here. So you got Komet coming under, you got Mooney going over, you got an even deeper there. So this is like levels concept with an east-west flood going this way. So east-west flood, so this is the east-west flood. We're stretching the zone this way. And this is the levels concept where we're stretching the zone this way, okay? That's what I mean by floods and levels. So, and again, coming across the field with Pettis as well. But Justin, at the end of the day, he's saying, okay, well, I've got enough there to be able to pick up first down. Cole Komet's in a pretty good position. Again, Hufanga just gets enough of him for Fred Warner to get the back end of him. But it's a nice first down for the Bears again. And a great run by Justin Fields, who's taking it on his own back to get things going. Good stuff, Bears. This is the second quarter. We are starting to make adjustments in terms of what we're stressing the defense with. So let's just check what that play was because I'll keep on track. Series 3, play 3, third down. So Series 3, play 3, third down. So we want Series 3, play 3, third down. Series 3, play 5. So we've had one play go, which I think was we had a penalty. It was an offside, I believe, on the 49ers. So in terms of letting the play go, again, you're counting the numbers in the box, not me this time. Although it's 6, you can see. So we're 6 on 6 up front. You talk about pass protection, that's really, really good. And this is a designed bail. This is a designed bail. Reason why I say it's a designed bail, because look at him set up wide, really flat to give the inside move here. And again, you see Whitehair's doing exactly the same. And they're, luckily for us, they are actually slanting this way. It kind of helps us a little bit on what we're trying to do. because we want to back out there. That's what Fields is doing. You see him pausing, waiting. He's not really reading anything. He just wants to bail out. Montgomery gets a piece of the defender who's come on a blitz, this is why it kind of messed up. This is this is the play, and I think it's the football scout. I think is. I've put him on YouTube on Twitter. He did this play and said Darnell Mooney basically was screaming on like a post corner down this side of the field was wide open. Because this blitz came, it kind of messed the play up. So Justin has to go, and then he backs out. Cody's getting back in front. What I do like is we're not going downfield and being ineligible, so we're all sort of staying in position. Larry's got Bosa in his pocket. Tevin comes off. Watch this here. Tevin comes off and absolutely smashes Bosa there. Sit down, son. And then Larry just says, okay, I'm just going to lie on top of you, dude. You just have a little rest down there. Rolls off and then gets back up instantly and then starts blocking him again. Good stuff. You want to see the athleticism. Losing a little bit of weight does. That's what it does for you. You get back up with Nick Bosa and you get out in front. And again, Tevin, look at this on Eric Armstead. Now we're turning into a runner. Sam just needs to get on this guy. Tevin's on his guy. And we get something out of nothing off the back of that. If Sam can just stay on that defensive tackle, which is a bit embarrassing, he outruns you there, but never mind. But look at that effort there by Tevin Jenkins. Fantastic effort up front. It didn't go right, but we did well on the play. So it looks like chat's talking about Carl Long. I'm talking about the Bears. We'll see where we go from here. It does get better because we're getting adjustments now, which is you see that we've got much more east-west kind of action going off. So Series 3, play 5 first down. Series 3, play 5 first down. So now we're in the home stretch, guys. So quarter 3, Series 2. So again, in terms of numbers, count them for yourself. That's the numbers you're looking at. Obviously, we've got one tight end. We've got 2 wide receivers in tight again. We've already seen this formation in the first half. What are they going to do for it off this one? Looks like we've dropped into cover 2 this time, so one number's gone out of the box. Obvious pass pro. Again, really tidy stuff up front by the big boys. So pass protection, because we've been stressing the sort of east-west and levels as well. And Larry on 92, I don't know who 92 is, but you got Lucas Patrick on Eric Armstead with Sam. That's a really good job there. You got Cody Whitehair and Braxton Jones on 90. Ryan Griffin, you want to ask about? We had a chat question earlier about Ryan Griffin. How did he block? Okay, so let's just sort of say, okay, Ryan Griffin, how did he block? Let's take a look at him on this play. So it gets into his chest. So what does he do? Okay, I'm just going to sit down on the ground and get you to the floor. Good work. And loads of time there. That's a great pocket for Fields there. No one's really got off the line of scrimmage. Easy pass to Pringle on that one. So next play, let it roll. Again, in terms of numbers, count them up yourself. The blitz are coming as well. Hufanga's coming this time. So on the line of scrimmage, so in zone, you basically go into the guys that you've got here. So you want to kind of get there and then get over to the second level. Get there, get over to the second level. That's the way it's drawn up in the playbook. But sometimes you get a really athletic defender coming up on a blitz, which he is. So Larry gets just enough there because, again, it's that sort of play action. So it's just enough because we're not too worried about if they get penetration. Again, you look at the numbers here. So on the back of this, and Equanimous St. Brown actually doing a pretty good job staying on this guy here. Griffin's trying to get clear there with Mooney going under. That's that levels concept there. On a linebacker, clearing the linebacker. So Mooney's the one you're trying to get open there. Again, this is what I'm talking about. Equanimous St. Brown, he might not have had loads and loads of catches. Look at him work here against the defensive end. That gives Fields all kinds of time. But up front, in terms of that zone action, it does kind of look, we're tying up a lot of people. A lot of people bite, particularly early. Everyone's bit. 57 particularly, you're now out of the play. So that's 4 out of the play. So and again, Gibson's bit really hard. Fields comes up, presses line of scrimmage. That puts Warner in a bind. Now he goes to the side because he wants to stay behind the line of scrimmage. So when you talk about turning into a runner and staying a passer, that's the example of that, turning into a runner and staying a passer. Sorry, I left that comment on screen so long. Yeah, some of the stuff towards this third and fourth quarter, it really was fun to watch. It did. There was a great pop on both. What I like is the fact when guys go to the ground, they're back up straight away. So Fields just basically trying to buy time, and he just has to throw it away at the end because at the end of the day, that's pretty well covered. So throwing it away is the sensible option there. So you live to fight another down. So only a few more plays left to go. So quarter 3, series 2, play 4. So this is the play that we saw earlier that I didn't mean to put up, but there we go. He did look very competent. I mean, at the end of the day, Sam Mustafa had a real bad year last year, and I was one of the biggest critics of him. But you have to call it where you see it. The guy is playing so much better than he was last year. And you've got to say that's Coach Morgan, that's Sam Mustafa as well. But it's also Coach Getz put him in a position where he's not going to get his ass kicked all the time. The difference is that, when you have 400 or 500 players to remember, you have to remember them against 3 or 4 fronts each single one. You're going to be asking your offensive line to do a lot that they're not particularly well set up for. So again, I formation. That pass protection up front is just beautiful on this play. And that's can't be stressed enough. This cut block by David Montgomery here, just to keep him wide. That's selling. This is actually, the cut block is selling the flat to Kari Blasingame. The work again up front, sealing everybody off. Larry sealing his guy off and walking him around. See Larry walking this guy around, giving that throwing lane to Justin. Just stay where you are, Justin. That's fine. If anything, Justin kind of drifts here a little bit. You ideally want him behind the centre still. But what sells this up front is Pringle. We've seen Pringle and Equinemius St. Brown being really good blockers, yeah? Everyone in chat say yes if you've seen Equinemius St. Brown and Pringle be really good blockers so far, because I have. The thing is, when you're really good blockers on wide receivers and you start blocking someone, I think it really is a block. And then when you sort of accidentally whiff because he's dipped under, and then away you go, and then away you go, and, over the back. So you're taking the attention of this linebacker. He can't get any depth. So one high safety's got to now cover 2 people coming across because this guy's chasing so hard, doesn't see. Look how low Pringle is there. That's why he doesn't see him. He's chasing Ryan Griffin at the end of the day. That's why he's chasing. But linebacker then doesn't get his depth. Easy throw for Justin Fields. Touchdown Bears, as a certain Jeff Joniak would say. And I hope I don't get a strike for that. Yeah, so we did get yeses in there. So when you get a wide receiver who can block and then they come up to block, it makes that play action. Not necessarily play action, but we're blocking for this side on the fullback flat. It sells it so much harder. It really does. And it makes it so much harder on defense. So again, great play call. And the blocking really has made a difference, but the scheme has made a difference to blocking. So this is in the monsoon conditions now. It really is an absolute mess on the field. We're getting standing water. There goes Komet going across and then going back. So you can see what it is, that zone action with a wham. And again, it's just enough. The thing is, if Larry, and again, look at the double here on Eric Armstead. Tevin gets on him. Watch Larry make contact now, and then how far that pushes him across. Because this is where the gap is designed to go. If you don't get him out of that hole with that block, and then Larry then goes down to this linebacker. That's such good work there. Komet, again, please stop making him cut block, because this isn't good for Cole. He doesn't make contact. At the end of the day, Sam Mustafa's chasing the linebacker. It's too late because at the end of the day, that's the gap. He doesn't even see Herbert. Herbert goes downfield. Now you've got Gibson one-on-one. Does get a decent piece of him at the end of the day, but this is leading up to the final touchdown. And Kinlaw's still on the field, so you can't even blame it on the fact that Javon Kinlaw wasn't on the field. So again, our blocking wide receivers and our blocking tight end, nice and tightly bunched in terms of numbers. Count them up yourself. There you go. So what do we see? Obviously, it's shotgun this time. Motion comes across. Look at the difference of what's happened to the box now. Now, you see they're starting to pay attention to these motions. Yeah, the cornerback's over here. Look at the difference it makes. And the effort by Pringle again, and Economy St. Brown coming across. And Braxton Jones, all he got to do is wall him off. He's got to get there. You've got to get fit up there. You've got to get this out of the hole and then get down to the second level. Does it happen? Well, Mustafa's on his guy. Tevin Jenkins gets on his guy. The defensive tackle moves across Larry. So Larry keeps him going. That's Arik Armstead at the end of the day, first round pick. And this is great effort, actually. So, I mean, this says Komet made a crappy effort here, Dawn. I'm going to suggest this is Nick Bosa at the end of the day, that you're asking a tight end to block. So, he slants across anyway. Cole gets his head play side. Larry helps stop him. He stays engaged in contact. Obviously, it's a long arm against Nick Bosa, which we've seen offensive tackles lose. This is a tight end. Herbert gets through the hole, so he basically comes off him to try and get on him. But watch the difference when you start then drive blocking extra 3 yards. And then when you put Nick Bosa on his back like that, on his shoulders, you've been blocking. You've been making somebody move. That's pretty good stuff. And the penalty, I don't think, was against us. I think it was actually defensive holding. And then the very last play that we've got today that we're going to look at, Bosa one-on-one, which for a tight end, for an offensive tackle, Bosa one-on-one is difficult. So for a tight end in extra one, drive blocking, it did. I mean, that's the whole point, is when you're in contact with someone, if you stay engaged and you stay driving, you're pushing your halfback. It did make a difference. Oh, the previous player was pretending as a bowling ball. Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, Sam, if I misunderstood that you were talking about the previous player, my apologies. I don't want to see Cole on these wham blocks coming from the backside. The whole cut block thing from a wham block it has no value at all. I'd rather see you put your shoulder into the middle of their ribs and then drive them. If you go into the ground, all they've got to do is beach ball you down, and then that's it. So this is the touchdown. We're going to see Cole Komet again get a fantastic block here. It really is. And the big boys up front just walking people off the line of scrimmage there. And then you see all the offensive linemen getting to the end zone for a bit of a celebration. So there comes Komet. You see the difference when you're walking people out of the box. It makes a difference in here, and it really does. And it's that sort of zone action going this way. Obviously, halfback read, you're looking at, is it an RPO or something like that to this side? It's just a straight give. Look at this up front here. Cody getting that hand. Again, Cody's uncovered really technically here. He is kind of head up, but once you get across there, Braxton, you see him get his shoulder into him because we'd want to drive him off the line of scrimmage. Sam Mustafa and Tevin Jenkins. Tevin fits up. Sam gets the shoulder and drive him off the line of scrimmage. Okay, same with Larry and Griffin. Griffin, get your shoulder in. Larry, drive him off the line of scrimmage. And when you're in goal line, this is what you need. And look at that. We're moving everybody. Everyone's moved 2 yards. Everyone's moved 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. And Cole Komet on the backside here, one-on-one. Look at this block. Look at him working him and driving him. He's being held there. That's defensive holding. Easy walking for Khalil Herbert. And then one guy's excited. 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys. Everyone wants to get involved in it. That's the way you want it. And you can see the rain is absolutely teeming down here. And look at the body language. You want to know how you've been, people have been in a tough game. Look at the body language. See the heads dropping. That's what happens when you walk people into the end zone. So that is the tape on the offensive line. That's pretty much most of it of note, certainly. I think realistically, so if we go back to this. So if we go back into this, I'll just talk to this. It says welcome to the show, but this is us leaving the show. But again, thank you everybody for joining me in the chat. 46 people here watching. And again, Herb, thanks for that, Herb. Herb Howard of It's the Bigs. If you're not already following him, I don't know what you're doing, because the guy is an absolute legend. And thank you, Herb, for joining me on Saturday for the charity stream. I really do appreciate it, brother. So, yeah, thanks for that. The offensive line made a massive difference. Field position in the first half really did nix us, but it limited play calling. But Getsy, from the second quarter on, was quite clearly from the tape that we've seen, was making adjustments to not only sort of challenge north-south, but to challenge east-west, and particularly with Justin Fields on the boots, the wide zones, the toss plays, all of that. Once you start getting the defense going east and west as well as north and south, it makes a massive difference to the what you can call and removing numbers out of the box. And then once you've got the offensive line actually having a chance to to work doubles, not be completely outnumbered with people coming downhill because they weren't respecting the pass in the first half because of field position, it makes a massive difference to the game plan. It makes a massive difference to the result. A very talented front in San Francisco 49ers that we played. We handled them, I've got to say, only 3 pressures against that front, 6 in the NFL last year. Bosa had tons of sacks. Kinlaw's going to have tons of sacks this year. They're a really talented front seven. They are going to put the hurt on a lot of teams. I think you're going to see that, Justin Fields having a passer rating that he did in an absolute monsoon, even with a tough first half. That's in no part partly owing to the offensive line's work, and in particular, the guys that are attached to the offensive line. The tight ends had a great day blocking, and also people like Equinemius St. Brown really can't speak highly enough. Pringle and Mooney all had a great job blocking for that weekend. Yeah, if you don't mind, hit the like button, make sure you're subscribing for the future. He did make adjustments. He made adjustments actually second quarter onwards. Yeah, Mama Borum is in the chat. She's been watching live. Again, thank you everyone for your really positive comments. I really do appreciate it. With that, I'm going to say this is Bearlissimo asking you to be kind. Bear down, Bearlissimo. Take care, everyone.